Okay, well, this is so wonderful to see in the comments. So many people from different countries all around the world. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So, here is an event by the VII Community. VII Community is a program of the VII Foundation in partnership with PhotoWings. And every few months, this series invites photographers who are members of the VII Community to show their work, to present the latest projects. And today's event is about long-term projects. So today we have two photographers with us, Renaud Philippe and Carolina Arantes. So both of them amazing photographers. I know your work from earlier on. I know both of you. I met Carolina in person 2 years ago in Los Angeles, and I think this is amazing. And it's my honor to present you both, but of course, it's you who is going to tell us about your stories. So let's get started with Carolina. Yes. So let me present you first, Carolina. So you are a Brazilian artist, visual storyteller. I know your work called Holy Cow, an amazing long-term project that took you years to complete, and everyone, you should go to Carolina's website and check out that project as well. But today you're talking with us about another work, also a long-term project, which is amazing. I've seen it already, and it's already a book called First Generation. So this is a documentary project about the first generation of French women of African descent who were born in France. Yes, so from what I understand, this is their daily life, their fight for asserting their identity, their social place, and legitimizing their dual origin. So, Carolina, I welcome you to tell us more about this project, the book, the photography, behind the scenes, everything. We want to know everything.
Thank you, Anush, for the introduction. I'm very happy to see you. Oh, so I am? No, I'm not. Are you hearing me?
No, take a look what's with your microphone.
No. Sorry, do you hear me?
We were okay a little bit ago.
I'm sorry for that. Wait, let's change.
Oh, okay. Okay, people are commenting that they can hear you. Maybe it's only me who cannot hear you. Renaud, can you hear Carolina?
No, I can't. Before it was okay, but now...
Do you hear me?
Anush, now it's you that we are not able to
listen to. Do you hear me?
Mute. Anush.
Do you hear me? Hello? Do you hear me?
So you can get started, Carolina. I think that's okay.
Do you hear me now? Are you hearing me? So, is everybody hearing me, please? Okay, thank you. So I'm sorry for that. I was a little bit lost. So I was thanking Anush for the introduction and saying that I'm very happy to see her again, meet her, and to share this moment also with Renaud here about the book, First Generation, that it was a long-term project done through 8 years of investigation in collaboration with several women that are part. The personages of the book are very part of the construction of this book, and I think I can consider it a kind of collaboration. So First Generation is a work I can talk about. This is the cover. We try to make it kind of a family album aspect from the 70s, because after colonization, the end of colonization on East West Africa countries, the France invited a number of workers to come to work on infrastructure, and it's only 10 years after that they created a law that could bring the family. And the kids born in this reunification, what is the La Reunification Familiale, it's a law created in 76, are the first citizens in France from immigrant parents. And I was intrigued by the visual imagery we can have, and the identity we have from French women in France that are not the typical Parisian image we have, the France had spread. And working on this, seeing as a Brazilian person how mixed tea is different elsewhere in Europe, as in showing the other point of view, right, coming from the south to the north and watching what is going on the north, on the occidental countries. I realized that this representation was really wrong, like I'm mistaken, for the fact that the France is now a very mixed country, and we know already the visual. We have our mind the identity of the black male French guy that is constructed through music, cinema, football, and we have it displayed already. But the women were not yet presented when I started the work. Of course, this changed a lot. Meanwhile, there were Black Lives Matter and there were Me Too movements happening, and also the social medias grow a lot. And it was also the social medias are also a tool for activism and Black activism, and this changed a lot. And also the work is, for the fact of being Brazilian, this is important to say, I had the special access to these women that I could not have it if it was if I was an European woman. That was said clearly by several women. So I can change to the next slide. I will show you a little bit the book. I will pass very fast because we have several pages, but I want for you to show a little bit of the design of the book, where it was really important to work with a designer. The book in France, we don't have statistics, so all the book is based on interviews. It's duolingual, it's in French and in English. We did it in a very golden paper. It's beautiful to put their voices, the women voices, in the same weight as the image, let's say like that. And as we consider that the next generation will really definitely be another generation that has a lot of a difference with the integration that women have today, we thought about putting a massive number of images to make it a really document. But this means also that we have worked not only in documentary photography, as you can see here, but we did some blocks of works based on themes like parties and house. But also we did a lot of work on archive images. And then we can see here like this, the mother of the girl of one of the family I followed in her village in Mali, and when she came back, she came to France to join her husband, and then the girls going to Mali for the first time or learning the language of the parents. And these archives are really important to show how the French ambience of living from the immigrant parents as well. So Fatoumata today, this is a very nice story to tell. Fatoumata she represents the ecological party in the town hall of Paris, and she's deciding which laws are being voted in the week. And this is her father document in the mayor town as well, when he was a street cleaner. So we can see the changes in the representation, the introduction of this new generation into the French society. And this is the only aspect of racism we talk. I decided to put it in 8 pictures, and because we were in the room of Bailly where I showed you, she was in her village in Mali before, so we are in her room here, and the neighbors called in the door, and they aggressed with a lot of violence and racist proposals. Dala, who are you seeing here, and the idea of portrait was to make really what is racism individually suffering, not necessarily as only a social issue, but also personal issue. Where what does it mean to someone that is suffering that? I think it was very important to include these 8 portraits in the middle of the book, and the identity of African colonization. So I will pass very fast for you just to fill the book as it was designed, with some double pages and some like double pages like that, and small images that were like a kind of a dual conversation. I haven't done, someone asked if I did my editing by myself. No, I didn't. There was Azu Nwagbogo, who is from Lagos Photo Festival, who edited with other editors as well. And then we ended, because this project had 8 years and this identity started being anchored in France. So we did a series of 17 portraits to show the beginning of this is Fatoumata in the town hall in her table. So we decided to make this portrait to show the anchoring of these women in the new society, like saying like the new French moment of post-immigration. This is a French story. Is a post-immigration story. I tried to not go to Africa before concluding this work because I wanted to see the women as a Brazilian person, and it's been now a long time I'm in France, so I wanted to keep this foreign gaze on hers, like sharing with them as a foreigner. It was very important for me because they are French, I am the immigrant one here, and I would like to keep it that. And the book was like a process of, I don't know if you want for me to tell already about it, but this was a co-working story with several editors. We started with one editor and then I moved to Fisheye. This happened a crowdfunding for funding this story. And then Fisheye is now distributing and making all the necessary to make this book alive in some libraries, what is very not usual. It's definitely not so usual today in the book publishings. And it was a very, very important experience for me to create a book. It's my first photo book. And when I started doing this story, I was already thinking that this book was a kind of a piece of a kind of document that had to last, like a reference for the next generations. That says that these women, for those who don't know France or haven't come back and don't know this reality, women are not feeling that they belong to the French country, although they are born here, but they are not also seen as African in their parents' countries either. So there is a kind of some talks about schizophrenia feelings of not belonging or not feeling they are part of the society. They are constantly asked where they come from. and there is a lot of difficulties on bringing together in these two different, sometimes antagonist cultures, like and requesting what is about to be a woman today in a cosmopolitan city or country, and what is to keep the tradition of the parents that are so important. So the book, we traveled along this both sides of constructing something in an adulthood, like the women's are now 40, 30, so they are choosing consciously what to bring from the what to keep from the African countries, and what to include from the French, and how to move forward with this both together to another third element that would be their identity, right? And I think that it's interesting also to say that the immigrants, as everywhere, they are definitely searching for their communities, and parents are normally very linked attached to the country's communities, but the kids, that the first generation, they are making a mix of Pan-Africanism in France. So the Senegalese women are like going out with Ivorian Coast ones or Congolese girls. Like there is a kind of this new generation. There is a kind of a way of saying themselves they are Afropolitans. They are not necessarily Malians or Congolese. And also for the fact that I wanted us to see France as a country that has these discussions going on, I avoided looking for some only few women's, because if I I was afraid that if I was choosing only Malian girls or Congolese ones, they were going to be seen as a community, part of a little community of immigrants, but not French women. So I melted everything on the same pot. So talking, I opened the project to women all over the West African and ancient colonies from France, to talk about what is French women, Black French women in France today. But I think it's also behind all of this is the question of identity, and of course racial issues are very important, and definitely the base of many reflections on this story. But behind of that, it's something that is universal, that is the fact of belonging and not belonging, and traditions, and keeping our culture, original culture, that touched me directly, because I am myself from Minas Gerais in Brazil, but I grew up in São Paulo. And when I was in São Paulo, I was treated as I was from Minas, and Minas from São Paulo. And then I came to Paris, and I'm suddenly a Brazilian person, like I'm a foreigner. And before I was in Spain, and then I was a Latina woman. And then all these labels that you are adding, and thinking where are our roots, brought me to try to understand what is going on with these women, right? Because if for me, I have done my choices and sometimes not, but these questions came very importantly. I was wondering for them that belongs where they are from this country, their nationality is here. So how was for them to deal with this identity that is historical and personal at the same time. So I think that this is a kind of shorter. I will be very happy to share more with the questions after, and I will let Renaud talk a little bit.
Thank you, Carolina. This is amazing. How long did it take you to work on this project, to complete it?
I started in 2014, and there was a moment I was questioning what is like the place of speech. How could I talk? After Black Lives Matter and all these changes, I entered in a really existential question on how to keep this project. For a moment, I said, no, I won't keep doing it. It's not for me to talk about it, and I went to search for how to construct and build a work that go together with the voices and not against it, for me to do not speak alone and have not imposing my point of view. So it was, sometimes I did some pauses for these reflections. And but in total, it was 80 years of following the women, and then 1 year to make the book, from the crowdfunding to the publication.
This is crazy. 8 years on a project, although pretty possible, yeah, for us. And yes, everyone's welcome to add your questions, and at the end of both presentations, we'll get to the questions and we'll definitely look at them and answer. Okay, and you have beautiful portraits too, Carolina. You must be in touch with the women, aren't you?
Yes,
Since
definitely.
you've worked with them for so many years.
Definitely, many friends. I saw them marrying, having kids, grandmother dying, like losing families. Like it was, and then together in their daily lives. Some of them very close to my heart, and friends, other in touch, and we have a WhatsApp community, and it's super nice to keep this friendship, because I also learned a lot about Brazilian African story through these women. So it was also a connection for me with my Brazilian identity.
Right. And do you feel that now with the book, is your project complete, or do you feel that you still have to photograph if something's happening in their lives that's important? Do you go and photograph, or do you feel, okay, I'm done with this and you need to move forward to the next project because you can't photograph forever?
Yeah, I think this is really definitely ended. I think the project is what the intention of doing the transition is done. What I think it's important for me now is to bring this into exhibitions, because I think that this work, in the moment we are living today, it's not a work only destined to be spread with Afro-European people or diasporic people, but also with other people that wants to understand what is immigration, post-immigration, what is Europe happening in Europe today. And I think that this could bring some relevance on the discussion of taking out the fear of immigration, because this is a very positive post-immigration stories. These women are totally independent, and they are making their space very beautifully despite all the difficulties. And they are contributing to this country in a very nice way of constructing it together. They are fighting for the presence of the parents in the history. This is the most difficult, but it is definitely a story that brings a positive way of post-immigration. I trust it.
Yes, I think it would be great with exhibitions or festivals happening, right?
Yeah.
Are you applying for the World Press Photo? The deadline is sometime, I think, very soon. This would be
No, I'm not, because I don't have images from 25. The book was published in the beginning of end of 22, beginning of 23. So I don't have images to apply to WordPress Photo today, but I'm working on exhibitions. The work was presented in the Best of Nuit de l'Année in Arles, and we are planning to make the book was selected as a best of also at Lens Culture. I'm fighting. I'm fighting to spread.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
That's what we do, exactly. Exactly.
The struggle. And but you are great at sharing your work, at making sure that it reaches wide audiences. That's what you did with Holy Cow, and I'm sure this will happen for this project as well. And the book looks beautiful. So
Thank you.
thank you for this. Thank you for presenting your project. And there are a couple of questions. We will get to them at the end. Okay, and now let's go to Renaud Philippe. So Renaud Philippe is a Canadian photographer. He is going to talk to us today about his project RETOMADA, which is also a book. And this is a long-term project that documents Guarani people's movement to reclaim their ancestral lands in Brazil. And this is something that is not easy to document, I'm sure, and these struggles continue. So I'm very curious how you've been working on this story. Your visual aesthetic is very different from that of Carolina. You are working in black and white photography, and so I'm glad that we have this contrast today of two very different photographers, but both really dedicated to the stories that you believe in telling, sharing, documenting. So I'm glad you're here, and please, you are welcome to share your story with us. We're very curious, Renaud.
Thank you, Anush. All right, so at first, Carolina, it was super interesting to listen, and I came to think, like, I think we had a screening together back in the days in Perpignan when you talked about Holika. Okay, anyway, I would like just to start by saying thank you to VII Foundation, of course, and PhotoWings to make this encounter possible. Okay, so where to start? Maybe at the beginning of this project. So it's very important for me to say, like, it's a project I'm working on this with my wife. She's actually Brazilian. She's coming from the region where this is happening. She's a visual anthropologist. So we do project together in Brazil since a few years now. Like we worked a lot with the Venezuelan people north of the country. We worked a lot during the COVID also, and she always shared with me the story of the Guarani, where she herself, she did her a master in anthropology with one community of Guarani people. And every time she was talking about it, like we both were, I don't know, there was no question. We had to go and see and meet the people she knew already. So we went, and this community, it's RETOMADA. So RETOMADA, what it means, it's the sorry for my English, it's RETOMADA da Terra, which is the name of the movement, means taking back the land. So we are in Mato Grosso do Sul and Paraná, two Brazilian states southwest of the country, where there have been a massive immigration, mostly from Germany and Italy during the dictatorship in Brazil. And the settlers came to develop the part of the country that was mainly forest back in the days, with some exception. And the result was 90% of the Atlantic forest have been totally destroyed after that for agribusiness. So now when you're traveling in those regions, the only thing you see for like thousands of kilometers, day and night, it's flat land. Everything have been destroyed. There's barely no trees except eucalyptus that is used like for anyway, that is part of the business. So but this land is part of the traditional Guarani land, and during all this history they have been living on that land. And it's one of the biggest indigenous group in Latin America, and it's a very strong one. They were able, despite hundreds of years of aggression against their culture, their land, they were able to keep their language alive. They're kind of super well organized, well represented. But in Brazil, they have been placed, like many places in the world, like what I see a lot here in Canada, like they have been placed in a reservation. And all around those reservation, it's intensive agriculture now. So maybe like 30 years ago, this movement started, and some people, a lot of group lead by women, started to take sometime a little piece of the land, sometime to try to get back the control of much bigger place. Sometime it's successful, sometime it failed. And so the situation today is like across those two states, there are some people living out, some Guarani living just outside the reservation. Sometimes since a few months, sometimes since dozens of years. And where they live, it's not recognized. They are considered even now as a squatter. So they have no access to basic rights that are supposedly how to say, sorry. I mean, basic rights that are normal according to the Brazilian constitution. So this is one thing, but the context where all this is happening is extremely violent. In front of them, it's all this agribusiness movement that is extremely strong in Brazil, and we are in a region of Brazil that is truly at the extreme right of the Brazilian politics. I think it's fair to say that like a big part of the Bolsonaro government have been coming from this region or influenced by the mentality of this region. That itself is influenced by the mentality of what was Germany like years ago and Italy years ago. So there is, like, since we work on that project since 4 years, and still now we are receiving each week message from Guarani telling us this person have been killed, suicide. We heard about like collective rape. There is not a single week with some crazy story that we listen, and the thing is like nobody talks about it. So let's come back 4 years ago, like when we start this project. It was that, like, there's a crisis, there's a situation that I feel very also, I know this kind of the impact that colonialism had on population like this in history. I've seen it in many different places in Canada, different communities, and talking with Carol about that, I was recognizing the same kind of dynamic. So we finally went first time. We delayed it a little bit because COVID happened. So we wait everybody to get the vaccine, and we went to this community the first time to realize two things. First, the Guarani, they are talking about a genocide going on, and there is now, after more than, 50, 60 different long interview with people, there is no other word that can come to my mind when I'm talking about the situation that live on a daily lives, the Guarani. So this is something that was very strong. This had to be denounced. The context of the media in the region, every time they talk about the Guarani, they talk about illegal, they talk about land occupation or land invasion. So there's always a big, the extreme right prism to watch the reality. But the other thing that happened is like this was a retomada, so a land that had been taken back, a land that everything had been destroyed, and when the Guarani came back, the forest also came back. So this really struck me very hard. Like really, everywhere the Guarani are going back, are taking back a little piece of the land, the nature is coming back. So this itself kind of was the foundation of the project. This made this project become a long-term project because like from a situation that was very local, like that had to be denounced, that I felt I had to document it because we had a contact, because we were aware about what was happening. But it was, you know, it was concerning mainly, but this thing that everywhere they go, nature is coming back. It shows that the fight that the Guarani are doing, it's not only a fight for their own survival, it's a fight for the survival of the humanity, like, because it's, I mean, to me, what they are doing, fighting against this big agribusiness, against this system that is working for profit and more profit, that's the fight that all humanity must do. So I'm talking, I'm not showing it's always the same thing, the photos. So okay, I tried to explain as the best way I could, like the general context. So to be able to do that kind of story, like, you know, like, I think photography, it's a lot about the link you create with what you photograph, whether it's a person, it's a landscape, whatever, it's the link you and to make a link with the Guarani, this has been the main, I wouldn't say challenge, because it kind of went very well, but it has been the main thing that we had to work on at the beginning, to make sure everybody was understanding what we were doing. And slowly, but we had no plan, so we went one time, we felt we need to go back, and it did that. I mean, for 4 years we need to go back. And I think the third time we went, we arrived at a moment where there was a meeting where all the leaders from all the community in those two states were together, talking about the issue their people were facing. So this moment was extraordinary, because we were first introduced by some people. We had already a beautiful link with them, and we get to know a lot of leaders, and they explained to us what was happening here and there. They invited us to go to see, to visit. And after that moment, that this is the way we worked. I mean, so the leader, the population, the people involved in the RETOMADA have been, I mean, we work with them. We work with the leader. They invite us to come there. They wanted to show us this. Once, like, the old woman who was on a RETOMADA died, and they were going to put it like to la mise en terre, to, sorry, I'm losing my word in English, but they were put her body into the soil, and they called us to document that. I honestly was a little bit surprised. It was a super private moment, like very emotional, but there was a comprehension of the symbolic of the thing. Like, she fought for this land all her life, and now we're gonna put her body in the soil. So it became very organic. So okay, and then there was a, you know, doing all this, it became the main thing for a long time. I stopped to do a lot of projects, and I really tried to focus on this one. And then after, like, what you do with this after so much time, like, and the book was for me the only option, like the most, it was super important to live as a book, to be a project that you can, that stay, and that you can put somewhere, give to someone. It was also a testimony of the people we work with. So we went in 25 different RETOMADA. And now Carol, she's in Brazil, giving the book to some of the leaders we met already. So there's this idea to give back a little bit too. And there have been exhibitions here and there, and now I feel my work is to talk about it, like you were saying the same, Karina, like to fight, like to make this happen, to share their voices. And the book is the best tool ever that can exist. So let's dive into it a little bit. We are talking about long-term project. when you take the time, something happened. Always something happened, and there was something very interesting in this project. It's not long term, like 10 years on one subject, but to be able to see from day one when some community tried to take back a little piece of land, to see 1 year, 2 years later how it changed from the moment it's everything all burned and dry till the moment it become like the beginning of a forest. So the book, there would be a lot of things to say about the book too, but it has been a process itself. It's something I had the chance to have like an artist residency in a center dedicated to photography here in Quebec. So it lasts, I think, 3 weeks, and I needed the time to stop everything else and to work on the dummy. So I took 3 weeks kind of off doing only this, like put everything together. I had an exhibition that I've been presented in Quebec before, so there was big work have been done already on the edit. And then there was the integration of the text. And at the end of this residency, I printed the dummy. It was almost the way it is now. And I started to trying to search for an editor. Found one wonderful in France, Four Eyes edition. And everything have been very organic with them too. Like we did a crowdfunding to finance it. Not to reproduce the same thing that happened when I did my very first book, that I did bankruptcy a few months later, because I really wanted to have the book ready, and so, but it's expensive, but you find ways to make it happen. So, and after, so the book have been published in last July. So now we are still in the beginning of the process to send it here and there, bring it to Brazil, give it to the communities with who we worked. I think we went around. So yeah, voila. So I think that's it. Like I think I would have a lot of more stuff to say, but probably in the questions there will be.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you, Renaud. This is really beautiful work, and yeah, amazing. 4 years, and you're still continuing.
It's not over. Yeah, Carol, she's still working with now she's making she's still with the university here in Quebec, working about the Guarani. We're thinking about long form documentary movie also about one specific aspect on the fight. We'll go back. We'll be there to talk about it too. I mean, something happened, and yeah, this I haven't talked about it, but something happened when we were working about it in November 2023, I think, yeah. And there was a situation one day, there was a lot of violence against mostly women in one community, and we were not so far, and the local police stopped, ask us what you do, journalist, blah blah. I try to identify myself. And next thing we know, like minutes later, there have been some kind of we've been blocked on the road by maybe like 30 men with big pickup, like balaclava, and they kind of attacked us because we were doing this work. So I end up like with some broken ribs, and we had to hide for a few days because two different local police force were involved in the attack. So this had a, I mean, of course, it was not a nice moment to pass, but I mean, in some point, it was a turning point because we decide to, from that moment, to use this, and it's terrible what I'm going to say, but it's kind of the reality, you know, like big media in Brazil, like I never heard anything about what was happening to the Guarani in the States. But what happened sometime, like we heard about places where they have been raided by police, like helicopter, killing people like from the helicopter, kids, and so it's story documented, everything. Never in mainstream media you listen about it, but that time, like there's a white North American guy that had been like beaten up by the farmers in Mato Grosso do Sul, so the media were getting interested by the story. So Carol and I, we decide to use this opportunity, like this mediatic attention to share about the Guarani. So from that moment, we did a lot of interview. Um, in a lot of different newspaper in Brazil, TV, etc., etc. And this work have been used to denounce the situation in the annual report about violence against indigenous people in Brazil. So, you know, it became a little bit politics. So, you know, a few things happen, like about accountability, about so this is our work now to spread it. And yeah.
Okay, okay, understood. Well, thank you. This is beautiful work and beautiful photography. It's interesting how when maybe you can go back to some of your photos. It's interesting how you know such a you know such a difficult project about this difficult struggle can at the same time you can combine this um, with project with photography that is also so artistic, and that's amazing actually, and that's the purpose of photography as well, through powerful images to invite the attention of viewers into deeper issues, deeper you know challenges that you're trying actually to share. So I think you did great by
But
that. What was
thank
your
you.
logic here with this aesthetic? Why were you photographing like this? You know.
Why? I don't know. But what I can say, like, when I started this project, I mean, I'm working with newspapers since quite a long time, and I was collaborating with one since 13 years, I think. They had, like, for the last 5 years, they received some kind of grant from a private donor to do international journalism. So because I was traveling a lot for photography and stuff, I started to do for them like quite a lot, like being like receiving a phone call, like, can you go to Lebanon tomorrow? This happened. Okay, for sure. Can you go to Afghanistan? Can you? So I started to do like how you say like parachute journalism, and as much as I was like extremely happy to, you know, it's a privilege to. I mean, it's a dream when you start photography, when you want to do documentary, when you like 20 years ago when I was watching those photographers, like working for media. But the thing is, I was mostly frustrated each time I was coming back home. Um, I was frustrated because thing goes fast. And when you work for a newspaper that is a daily newspaper that doesn't have a tradition about, you know, long form journalism, I was feeling that I was even almost lying to the people. So kind of to the people I was photographing, you know, because it goes in the newspaper in Quebec, and then next day it doesn't exist anymore. And to the people who were getting the information, because what can you really say when you're 24 hours in a situation you've never been before in, and you need to share about it? Like so when you decide to take times, at some point, like this got imposed by itself. You know, the style, there's something, I don't know. I chose the black and white because I love to work in black and white, because it was a way to make to take a break a little bit from a newspaper production. And at some point, you don't want to show something. You don't want to show like what's happening. You want to make the people feel they are walking with them. So
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for also telling us some of your, background, some of your past work. I had no idea, and this is an interesting transition, a beautiful one. Although, of course, it's more challenging when you need to, when you're freelancing and have to make everything happen for yourself, and you don't have like a newspaper, sending you.
I was freelancing for the newspaper. Always
You were still
freelancing.
freelancing.
When you stop freelancing, it must be really hard to go back at it, but better not to
Yeah.
stop.
I'm sure it is. Although I wouldn't know. I've never really done anything else than freelancing.
Yeah.
Almost. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Renaud. This was amazing. And let's learn more about all of this, about your work, by diving into the questions from the audience. That way we will know more. And first, let's go to questions to Carolina. Yeah, we have quite a few, actually, the first three. So let's talk about it, Carolina. Maybe not too much in detail, so that we can go through all of the questions, because we have about 20 minutes or so. Okay, so the first one is from Olivia Beaudoin. Thank you for sharing this beautiful work. I'm curious how you continue to find funding for you to work on your project, and eventually how you found a publishing home.
Okay, so I think that for the work, I got an important grant. That it's the Fondation Jean-Luc Lagardère that gave me a very nice grant to continue this story. And in the moment, of course, this grant lasted one moment, but not the 8 years. And after, I was like doing commercial works and institutional works to keep giving my free time to this work. And it's a lot of personal investment, of course, a lot of personal investment. And for a publishing home, I think that I've passed through several festivals showing the books for editors, the project before the book, because I didn't have a dummy. But I had in my mind exactly what I wanted, and it was quite the cover was a difficult one to find, but the process of the book with the texts and the images and the sequence, we were already started talking when I started the book, but finding the publishing house was like that. And then I applied with Polka magazine and Photo Evidence for crowdfunding with Kickstarter. And at the end, for the familiar questions that I was passing by, and I had needing more support from the editorial house to distribute, to host, and sell, and all those things. By the end, I finished by publishing it with Fish Eye that gave me. It's not all the publishing house that can give it to the photographers, like the distribution, and some like almost even like having a place where you put your books, where you host like get it into like 200 unities, 500 unities in your small apartment in Paris. It's very hard. So it's also these questions that are very practical. And then I finished by doing it with Fish Eye that offered me the opportunity to have this, and it was an excellent opportunity, definitely, in this difficult world of publishing. But after this experience, I think that self-publishing is super cool as well. It's really possible. It's really, really possible. And it can be a very interesting way of constructing your book. Like if you find your crew to work with, you know.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I agree with you on self-publishing. That's what I did with my book. Working directly with an editor, designer, and publisher, printing house. Yeah, it was pretty good actually.
Yeah, I
But then
think
the
it is.
distribution, it's a big deal. So it's great that you have a distributor, and that's one of the huge advantages of working with a publishing house, because they distribute it for you. Otherwise, you need to send it yourself to bookstores and
Yes.
festivals, and
Festivals.
it's pretty.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you get the profit to speak more.
Yeah, you can slow down and make it yourself, right? It can be slower because you have to send it by post office yourself and all those things. But why not? I think it's really valuable as well.
Yeah. Okay. Next question from Grace Yoon. Thank you for sharing your work. Any suggestions on finding a mentor to work with on long-term projects?
I think that I'm sharing your work with photographers that you admire, like looking for photographers you admire, making workshops. I had a mentoring with when I was starting photography, and it was a meeting I had in a workshop. And through the workshop, I sometimes proposed with people to exchange, or the mentor in this case was an invitation, but you can have it by proposing, asking. Don't be afraid of ask. It's super important to ask.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm having a young photographer that contact me like a lot, like here in Quebec. It's a small community, and I never say no. Like, I'm always happy to have a coffee, look at the project. Some of them I met like once. Some of them I still have connection, and I still have news about what they're doing. So, I mean, and even like this book, like I had my own mentor. Like I did a workshop also, like the Foundry workshop, that also Seven and PhotoWings with Stefano De Luigi during that time. And you know, this was big help also. Like, you need people around you to, you know, to give you another perspective, you need people around you. And so, I mean, write to the person you admire, you like the work, and just try. If you don't have any answer, okay, next step, but try. Many are answering.
And find someone that believes in your work, right? Because also from the editor as the mentor, it's really important to find someone that trusts your work as you, because the person will have to be encouraging and also to be critic. So it needs to be a good feeling between you, the mentor editor, and the work. It's really important that.
Right. I think you could both be great mentors for long-term projects, both of you.
I would love to.
Okay, so next question from Haley Sadler. So beautiful, Carolina. Two questions. How did you know or feel that the project was complete 8 years in? And if there are ever moments of discouragement, what gives you your internal motivation to continue documentation over such a long-term project, as well as to keep fighting for the project's distribution amidst those moments of doubt and discouragement?
Okay, so for the first question, I think that I started this work when I was feeling a changement of this identity, and I feel that I concluded when I saw that this identity was getting anchored. I think that this was the moment I said, stop, I don't need to show later on. This is the sensation of being floating, the identity that is floating is keeping, and then suddenly it is grounding, and then when it's grounding, it was the end of the project. Then that's how I felt, And for the discouragements and internal motivation, there are some things that are important. One is the commitment you have with the personages. I never left France because I needed to. These women gave me a lot of credit, and they believed in this work with me. So I had the commitment with them, and this was really important for me. Also because I trust long-term stories, and I think that even when you do a deeper work, you can contrast on the short, very fast news we are fighting today, and then we have a historical place. You find yourself in a historical place, and this was for me also something that kept me working. And for the discouragement, it will come, and now when it comes, I breathe. But it will always come. It is something that I think it's part of creativity. It's part of telling stories, and it's part of struggling with something that is under control, but not totally. Be brave.
Haley is brave. She's a great photographer. Okay.
Thank you,
so,
Haley.
You know her, don't you? All right. So let's next question. Okay, to both of you, maybe let's let Renaud answer this one. For both of you, was there any collaboration with the participants from photographing to the book?
Yes, of course. I mean, without them, there would be no photos. It's simple as that. So I told it before. I said it before a little bit. Like when we were working, we were basically available for them, and we made some beautiful links with some people that were involved, like from the beginning till the end. Every time we were on the field, it was with them. We hired some of them for some parts, and after there was all the text, the recording we had. Like Carol did a big work of translating first, summarize, and reorganizing, and we work with some of them, like to see like the text, but not for the part of the construction of the book itself. No. This have been like kind of a little bit solitary work, like doing this part.
For me, the collaboration was since the beginning. The girls took me by the hand and guided me. So I feel this book is a collaboration project. And in the book, for the archive imagery, we sat together and we decided the images, and they showed me the images they wanted to that represented them in their childhood and the family. So there was a lot of collaboration in the archive imagery, of course, showing them the images that I could show. Some of them are Muslim. They had to see the images and decide what would be representative for them. And today, when I do speeches or talks or about it in general, now we are talking about books, so it's my own domain. But when we are talking about this situation, the documentary story, I try to invite one of them to talk about how it's for them to be a French woman from African identity today. So they talk about themselves, and I talk about the documentary process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to add just this is important also, like to, it's not the book exists, like, but it's not just this is their story, this is their story. Like we need to still they are still involved in sharing about the story. So this is something we did in Brazil when it had been published in this report. Some leaders have been invited to Brasilia to talk about their situation, their life. And when we did an exhibition in Quebec, we invited one Guarani leader she's very famous, traveling the world, talking about like the situation of the Guarani. But sadly, there have been a problem just before the flight, and she couldn't make it. But this we were super happy to have her here. So maybe another time.
Those are wonderful examples of collaboration, and I mean, no wonder when you work for so many years, that's what happens. They become friends. They become part of your life.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah, let's okay. A question from Monish Upadhyay. Do you guys feel that the form of the projects kept evolving through the photographic process? Was there a predetermined idea how it would translate to pages as you guys started to work on your subsequent books?
Yeah.
So maybe Renaud, would you like to start?
No, but what comes to my mind, I remember very well a moment when I was like, I don't know what to do, what else to do, because of course I can continue to document what's happening like for years, but I was kind of blocked, and it's at this moment I did this workshop with Stefano De Luigi, and it kind of unblocked a lot of stuff. So yes, there have been an evolution at some point. I think it's hard to say how, but and I'm almost sure, it's we always are evolving. Like if I was doing this book today, like there would be some change, there would be some. So I think it's important to let ourselves ready to evolve, like not to arrive into it with too much knowing already how it's going to look like, or so we need to be influenced by what we see, like the encounter we have. And even for me, I was very traditional in this project. There's no, it's very one photo, by page. There is no, I wanted to use photography like as a medium, very, very pure to talk about this story. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining it right. Voila, I think I'm losing voila. So,
Okay. No, you did answer the question.
okay, good.
Yeah.
You did. What about you, Catalina?
Well, my project evolved completely by the end. Like the portraits were not thought in the beginning. The archives came. There was a lot of surprises that came together, and I was evolving together, and it was. But I think I really do suggest not to be fixed on an idea, because it's important to be open and flexible, to let things new in. And to not unexpected things to happen, but kept like a kind of a brainstorming words, like create a cloud of what do you feel, and then come back to this cloud always to abstract feelings that you can add or subtract by then, like, and then you go constructing it in a sense of having a reference from your beginning. This it was very helpful for me.
Okay, thank you, Carolina. Okay, and we have one last question, I guess, for Renaud, but misspelled, but that's okay. From Dominique Campbell. How did you found the smaller, probably pace of making a long-term reportage compared to covering a news story instead? Did you have to change something in the approach in photographing?
Well, but the main thing I'm doing is that it's long-term project. So, but to make this happen, like we didn't talk much about how financing this project, but I'm working for different newspaper here and there. So yeah, it's different. It's very different. I mean, you. So, I mean, there's something when you're on the field, there's something that is still the same. You just follow your instinct. You just like move with the event, the moment, the vibe. But then when you work for a news story, like you go back home, edit, you send, and there's a lack of there's a moment that there's a lack how to say, it's very important, this moment of doubt, this moment of like having the feeling like you're not in the right track, what you're gonna do next, like you need to push a little bit more. And so of course, like and you're as much as I love to do news story, because you're there, you assist to something that is significant, and you have your own part about sharing it. But when you take the time, something very different happen. Like, and you at the end of the day, what you're showing, it's not mostly what you saw; it's mostly what you felt. So when you're doing news story, you don't have most of the time like the distance you need to to do this kind of work.
Thank you. Thank you. And do we have a little time? Maybe we do have a couple of minutes. Here's one last question maybe we can look at from Desiree Duarte Vera. Guys, did you show the images to them, to the people you were photographing while the time of your project was running?
I was like, sometimes I was giving them images, like daily life images that I was not necessarily using in my project, or maybe photographing them in the moment. Like I was giving it to them, and sometimes I got too late on doing it. That it's nice to share. It's important to share for them to feel that that you are respecting the trust they are giving you to enter in their lives. It's an exchange in a way. I really think it helped me a lot to give it back to them.
Yeah. Thank you.
So more or less the same answer. Like most of the time, going back there, we were bringing some photos, and when we were meeting the people, your husband, or so. And yeah, of course, people love it, and so it's always good for ourselves to do. Give a photo and make someone happy. Like it's
Right.
I think that it's something that is interesting to say is that do the book to complete a work. Do not think about the book first as like, of course, having a book is fantastic, and it's super nice to have it on physical way. It's like, wow, it's magic. But the book has to have content. It has to take in like the breath of time, and you can come back. It's like if you were reading a story. So dedicate to the story, and the book will come.
Yeah.
Dedicate to the story, and the book will become a need.
Flower. Yeah.
That's what you're gonna need, because it's not in a newspaper that you're gonna be able to present what you want to present. It's not so.
Yeah.
And just do it one day at a time. Like, it seems like a big challenge to do like a book, but it's like everything else in photography, one step at a time. Be patient.
Okay, well, this is amazing, and this was a great ending. Wonderful, encouraging words from both of you, Carolina and Renaud. Thank you so much for sharing your work today.
Thank you, Anush.
Thank you.
Thank you for everybody. Thank you, PhotoWings and VII Foundation. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being and sharing.
It was
hoping
amazing.
this will inspire a few photography book that we'll see in HAL in a few years.
Yeah, you definitely inspired us. Both of you inspired us. And thank you to the audience who were here asking questions. Definitely. Thanks so much. Okay, everyone, this is it for today. We'll see you for the next VII Community event. Thank you, and bye-bye. Bye.